Hey, my love. So today's verse of the day is coming from Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28. And it says, "He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls." So Solomon is giving us another Proverbs of wisdom. And so he gets his wisdom from God. So God is saying and comparing a person that has zero self-control to a city that is broken down. So what comes to your mind when you think of a city broken down? What came to my mind, the imagery that came from God, was a city that's like destitute, empty, and it's burning in flames. Like people are also running around like chicken heads, and there's just no type of authority or rule over them. And so God compares the city that is broken down to us is because when you don't have any self-control over perhaps your spending habits, your mouth, what you say and what you don't say, if you don't have control over where you will and won't go, if you don't have control over your body, your fleshly desires. And what is flesh? I know a lot of people is like hearing that word a lot sometimes. And flesh is your natural human tendencies. And majority of the time it's sinful tendencies, which is often like greed, gluttony, murder, envy, lust, slothfulness, and pride. So if you don't have any self-control of your spirit to not be prideful or ask for money when you need it, or apologize to someone when you did them wrong, or lust, you can't stop sleeping around with people that are not your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is. Envy, you can't stop wanting what someone else has, like God doesn't have your own table for you. Or just plain murder, like the worst wicked stuff. You don't have the urge to not want to kill somebody. That might sound crazy, but some people have that spirit in them where they so angry inside they always want to hurt someone or kill someone. Y'all see it on the news every day. So a person that has no rule over his spirit is bound to get in some chaos. That's what a broken down city is. It's chaotic. It's like Chirac war going on. You always at war with yourself and others. Someone say the wrong thing to you and you ready to bust a gun out on their head or say something crazy to them. That's not having control over your spirit. And so literally when God says without walls, what does that mean? I know someone might have some other imagery coming to your head, but back in the day, they had castles and they had building structures where a wall was their first line of defense. And that was their protection against enemies. So God is saying, if you don't have control over your spirit, that's your first line of defense from protecting you from the schemes of the devil or literally other people trying to harm you. See, because if we have no control over our spirit, and perhaps we might go where we want to go, if you don't set boundaries of where you will and won't go, you might run into someone that you know you hate, or that you know once they say one wrong word to you, you're gonna maybe want to kill them, say something evil, or just get into it with them. Versus had you not gone, had the self-control to not go to that party, had the self-control to not go to that event where you know someone doesn't like you, you could have avoided that. You could have had protection. It's the same with spending habits. Had you had some self-control to tell people, no, I'm not going out, I'm saving because I got plans, God is moving in my life, I can't be going this place and that place because I got to buy a building or I got to save for my children. You say no to people. If you would say no to people, you would have more money in your account versus going out and getting drunk and spending all your money, because you know once you go out, you don't know how to stop. So that's not having control over your spirit. The ability to say no. Don't go out with those friends if you know every time you go out, you go home with someone and you have no control over your flesh to sleep with someone. So God is saying that he that has no rule over his spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. And so how do we gain control over our spirit? For me, it was nothing other than when I gave my life to Christ and the Holy Spirit came in and he started to replace my desires, replace my urges, and give me a self-control. Or I could pray and I would have the ability to do something I never thought I would be able to do. And that comes from fasting. And so God, I think, is speaking to my spirit about this verse because lately it's been very hard for me to fast, and that's not having control over my spirit. I should be able to say no to certain foods or not food at all. If I don't have control over my spirit, then I'm in trouble for different attacks from the enemies, what he might use against me if I don't have self-control. So God uses fasting as a tool to discipline our bodies and gain and practice self-control. So I don't know about if you haven't been controlling yourself in certain areas you normally have control over. God is calling us to fast. You can ask him what kind of fast, but fast, because this helps you abstain from maybe spending money out of control, spending your time in the wrong places, doing things you have no business doing, or going places you have no place to be. If God has called you out from among the people, then you need to obey. And sometimes fasting is the only way to make you say no and make you not do what you want to do, eat what you want to eat. It's not about you. You surrender to God in this season. So I love you guys, and I hope you guys listen and obey to God's commands, because I know we all have trouble with that, but it's about listening to the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, versus your flesh and what your spirit wants to do. Because when we listen to God, that's what brings us to fullness and ease. We are at unease when we don't listen. We begin to have chaos inside our bodies, and that's going to flow to the outside. What's going on the inside of your brain and your spirit eventually flows to the outside, and people are going to begin to wonder, like, what's going on? Like, what? That's what happens, because stuff happens in the spiritual room first. Just like when I got the spirit of just deliverance from relationships, that happened in the spirit first. So whatever you need to break off that generational curse that has cursed you with poverty, that has to happen in the spirit. A mind shift has to occur first for you to have that self-control in that area. So I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.